Hello and welcome to part 5 of the Are You Playing in God's Face series. I've been recording different little snippets about playing in God's face. That is coming from my mantra for the year. So my mantra for the year, I don't do New Year's resolutions because I feel like those don't make it out of January, but I do have themes that I subscribe to. Like this year is going to be about this, or I usually will pick a word for the year as well. So this time around is that I'm going to stop playing in God's face. And what I mean by that is that I'm going to be obedient and do the things that I'm supposed to do, that God gave me as answers when I prayed, but that I tend to shy away from because sometimes it's big, it's bold, and it feels a little, uncomfortable to fully step into, right? So, like I said, this is part 5. You can go back and watch 1, 2, 3, and 4. Today, what I want to specifically talk about is being honest. So, one of the ways that we play in God's face is not being honest. We pray and we get an answer, and sometimes we try to ignore the answer, or we're like, oh, that was just that wasn't God saying that, right? But a lot of times we receive the download, we know that that's the thing, but we find ways to then fall back. We find ways to step away from that thing, and the main reason is typically fear. It's fear of what is to happen and not knowing, right? Because you know that I'm here and I need to get to there, but there's no GPS, there's no instructions. You're not really the one driving to the destination, right? You are responsible for making sure that you got your butt in the seat, and that you're ready to be the most compliant passenger in that seat, right? Being obedient to what you're supposed to be doing. But fear creeps in, right? And you're like, I don't know if I can do this. I don't know if I'm equipped for this. Not sure. I'm nervous. And, I mentioned yesterday, and I do believe that when we don't do the things that God has called us to do, it is showing a lack of faith. And that's not a judgment or anything like that. I know that I have done it. I have been disobedient. I have a coaching sister that refers to, she always says delayed obedience is still disobedient, right? So I'm guilty. I know many of us are guilty of doing that, but I think that sometimes, you see all of these memes and commentary about the interaction of, between faith and fear, right? And while I wholeheartedly believe that if we are as faithful as we say that we are, we will believe that the thing is going to happen, or that things are going to go the way that they're supposed to go, and we will move in accordance. Like we tiptoeing in spaces where God told us to, stomp the yard, right? So we're walking around tiptoeing as if we're uncertain, when He said, I am your certainty. I am the boldness that you need. And that's true. We need to move different. We need to show that we are understanding that He got us. He has our back. But the honesty piece that I'm talking about is the fact that I think sometimes, because we know that reality, that if we are faithful, we should not be fearful, right? But we are also human. We are also human, and God is well aware of the fact that we're human. And sometimes when we refuse to say the thing out loud, that's also playing in God's face, because He knows you're scared. He wants you to believe, and He wants you to understand that He got you, but He knows that you're scared. He knows you're scared. You know you're scared. Embrace that. Say it out loud. Take the wind out of that, because we tend to, not say we're scared because it's not showing our faithfulness, right? Because if he has us, why should we be afraid, right? But we're human, and we live in this world society that teaches us, that, quote unquote, failure is like the biggest, thing in the world. Like, you don't want anybody to see you fail. You don't want to misstep. But the reality is, you're going to misstep sometimes. You're going to have fear creep in sometimes. But be honest about it. Be honest with yourself. Be honest with God. And just tell Him that. Just say, you know what, God, I trust you. I believe in you. But man, look, I'm scared. I'm scared. There's so many unknowns and uncertainties. And as much as I want to just block those things out and just go ham, I'm scared. And if you release that power of that fear by speaking it out loud, you can work through it. It's hilarious to me, both when I'm working with someone or even having a conversation with a friend, or when somebody is, helping me with something that I'm struggling with. The thing that is so funny to me is that most of the things that we're struggling with, once we say them out loud to another person, or say them out loud just even to ourselves and admit to it, the solution is not that serious. It's not that deep. It was something that was right there, but because we could not admit that we're scared, or admit that we don't think that we have what it takes, or admit that I know I need to be doing this and I haven't. When you start to admit it, then you can solve for X. But if you don't put the problem on the table, you can't solve it. No one can solve a problem that you're not willing to admit that you have. So let's stop lying. Let's stop lying about how we feel and just own it. I talk about in some of my content emotional placement, and this is the fact that all of our emotions have a place. It's not wrong to have the emotions. It's just that you have to put them in their proper places. But you can't do that unless you can name it, unless you can say, this is what I'm experiencing. Once I started naming my experience, I know what it feels like when I'm starting to get anxious. And so then I can do things to feel better. I know when I start to get anxiety, I have to get up and go do something. I have to take action, because if I don't take action, I'm just going to sit inside my head and spin my wheels. Sometimes it's just talking to a friend. Whatever it is, we're going to stop lying to ourselves, lying to God, and we're going to admit where we are and how we are doing. And we're going to get the appropriate help because we admitted it. And that's the first step. So again, like I said throughout the series, check out the Capable Confident Challenge. That's where I work out all of these mindset things in Ditch Imposter Syndrome. So I'll put that in the comments. And I think I got one more in me. So I'm going to, tomorrow, let's see what we get on this series.